All right, it's 10:55 in the morning. You're getting a close-up of my mouth for a reason. I chipped my tooth 2 days ago. And while I know they're crooked, I actually have what my dentist calls a Class A mouth. I floss more than once a day. My teeth are tartar-free and not bad. But here, look at this. You can see on this tooth a small chip on the bottom, but that doesn't really tell the whole picture. On the front of it, which the video doesn't pick up very well, like maybe while the bottom's missing like half a millimeter, which to my tongue feels like a lot. The front of it is missing like 3.5 millimeters, like a piece of shale broke off the front, and it hurts. Well, it hurt yesterday and the day before. It doesn't hurt right now, so I'm gonna go to the dentist. He's in that strip mall. And in spite of the fact that he's in a strip mall, I think he's a really good dentist. We like him a lot. He's going to fix my tooth, and I'll let you know how it goes. So I'm 3 minutes early, which, I don't know. You're supposed to be a little early for a doctor, right? Anyway, I've been thinking about this tooth constantly. I like lick it so much that my tongue is like slightly wounded from licking a sharp tooth all the time. For me, it's been a really big deal, and I can't wait for it to be fixed. From the future here. When I took that, I didn't know I was going to get these, and I promise you, the oral close-ups of my teeth are about to be over. But I thought it would be interesting just to show you guys the pictures that the dentist took of the before fixing. They had before and after shots. Turned out great. You'll see in a second. Here they are. I am so happy to be all fixed up. Let me turn down the AC. I hardly have, I've been a baby about this thing. They were tiny little chips in my teeth. If I did this right, then you've just seen the close-up photos of them. But man, it bothered me a lot. And I licked it so much, I was starting to cut my tongue. Even though it was hardly visible, I felt like it was all anyone could see. It was all I could think about. Until, like, it's Leesville Dental. I'll mention who I go to. I am rarely happy to be at the dentist office, but I'm there, and like both the dentist and the hygienist is like 16 years experience, they just felt so freaking competent at what they were. I was like, all I need to do is lay here, and in an hour-ish, it was an hour and a half total, or hour and 20 minutes, the problem was solved, and I'm just like, I'm glad it's behind me. That's awesome. So the sun is setting. Hope I spent some time watching Watchmen today. I thought I was doing her a favor. I didn't tell her this, but she needed Watchmen, and I bought it. And I bought the like extra long director's cut extended edition so that she'd have the best version of this great movie. Oh my God, that was a long movie. It was
3.5 hours.
I normally love long movies, like Lord of the Rings. Like if I see a movie is long, I'm like, yeah, like this is gonna be such a winner. Like usually a long movie is an extra good movie. This one, I like Watchmen, and it was a lot to sit through.
I read half of the book, and it took about 2.5 hours to get to the point where I hadn't read.
And then she fell asleep.
No, I fell asleep before we got to the point where we switched, and then I fell asleep for the last 10 minutes. But I read the summary online, so we're all fine.
Anyway, if you watched yesterday's vlog, then you know that I cut a piece of wood too short, and I needed to get more plywood anyway because I didn't have one for the top surface. So we're gonna run out to Home Depot, get some wood, and then maybe do some work in the shop. need a bigger truck. So, those of you who watch all my vlogs, yesterday specifically, will remember this shot. This is the same piece. It's going to be in the center of the Outfeed table, which we'll show you soon. Except this time it's 1.5 inches bigger. I didn't measure the thickness of the wood when I accounted for it, and mistakes were made. Anyway, this time we'll get it right. Someone said that, I saw in the comments, that where they are, they put the cord over their shoulder, but I thought about it, I don't know. In my shop, I kind of prefer it over here, and what you can't see maybe is that's where the cord's coming from. So I feel good about this, like in terms of safety. Here we go.
Say that sentence again.
She cut it off. I usually don't let it spin to a stop like that, but the way it is, me reaching across, I just let it do its thing. Hope refers to this shot as the child labor shot. Oh, speaking of which, I caught an earful for not making sure you were wearing eye and ear po. There it is. All right.
I'm just giving you so many quality thumbnails right here.
So, like I said before, just kind of receive it. Don't pull it to you or anything. Your job is just to make sure it doesn't fall down. I'll replace you with a table soon enough.
Oh wow, outsourcing my labor.
Mm-hmm. Automating. All right, so here's what we're dealing with. We have a shelf over there. You see that's my table holding my shelf. Get it? She's just a table. Okay, so we have that piece is going to go on here. And it does a couple of things. One of the biggest though is it's not only is it a shelf, but it's structural, right? Like this whole thing can kind of wiggle around and stuff. It'll mandate that it's square. It'll stop it from racking. Like, imagine I were to push on this corner that way. That is a racking force, and it would try to turn this thing, like that rectangle, into a parallelogram. That's why oftentimes when you assemble cabinets and stuff, they have like, it's all weak until you put the back on it, and then it gets really firm because it resists racking forces. Anyway, that shelf will be a part of the whole solution, which makes this thing more structurally sound. The challenge we have is getting the shelf in there. The shelf is going to fit like tightly onto those corners. So it's bigger than the hole that exists from the top. So you can't easily just drop it down. You know, you'd think, oh, we'll drop it down diagonally. But no, because it'll be tight on this side too. In all four directions, it's a little bigger, so it fits on these corners properly. My idea is to put it on the ground and then use the fact that until it's screwed in, these legs can still expand a little, and we'll lift it up, pull the legs in, and get it tight. Wish us luck. All right, next step, we're just gonna screw and glue this shelf in place. So we're gonna team up on the gluing. I'll probably speed this up. All right, next up, we're going to screw the table in place, and I want these legs to be the best
version of themselves while I screw.
All right, progress. Same thing as before. For the top, we're keeping the full 4 feet because why not? Like, it's kind of a big building and it's nicer to have a bigger table. But for the length, this is actually the width, I'm cutting it to be the same width as the table saw over there. Nice. And
keep them in suspense.
This is just for those of you that didn't see every video. The reason I don't want it longer than the table saw is like if the wood is like coming off the edge and it's hanging down because like sagging, it would bump an extra wide thing. So we're gonna just keep it the same width. Anyway, this cut should go smoothly. I made sure that I both didn't cut the table underneath it and the little supports I have, so I expect this to go fine. If I'm honest, that didn't go that smoothly. Shucks, I've talked about... What happened was, I put the cord over here thinking that would be a safe path for it, and it got hooked on this clamp. And when it did, the saw went that way. It wasn't the end of the world, I just kind of backtracked, and I think my cut is good. We'll take a look at it. Yeah, the cut is pretty good. But, I wish it was perfect, you know, because I'm on camera. but everything is fine. So tell them what you were just telling me.
I think all of the sawdust from that cut went exclusively up my right nostril.
So here's a pro woodworker's tip.
Oh no.
Yeah. Give it like 4 or 5 hours, right? Let it dry. Go like this, and you'll get a dowel that comes out. It'll be great. All right, here's the deal. We were getting ready to secure the top to the table, right? Because if you back up, this is kind of what it looks like. And I thought that all this plywood edge and how hard it was and 90 degrees, I thought it looked garbage. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap the edges in some sort of decorative wood. It might be cherry or purple heart or something I have upstairs. Now the thing is, if I make it more than 4 feet, doesn't matter. Bigger table, Bob's your uncle. If I make it more than 73.5 inches, that's a problem. I keep talking about how I don't want it to be wider than the table saw. And by wrapping it with say 3/4 inch wood, it would do that. So I'm gonna take off 1.5 inches and that way I can cut this thing, I can wrap this thing with a nicer wood, not show the ugly plywood edge, and it won't be too long, so we'll do that. All right, now we're just screwing the top on. You missed it, but we put glue all around it so it'll hold nice. Just gonna put a little screw on there for some clamping pressure and it'll be great. But for right now, I don't know. There has to be a clever screw joke that I could make, but I can't think of one for in front of my daughter.
You should have really bought it dinner first, Dad.
Oh, okay, I'll take that. And that's where we call it a day.
A night.
A night. Yeah, what time is it?
It is 10:20.
Yeah, trying to look. 10:19. So we're gonna call that a wrap, and we made some progress. We have a table looking thing here. Next thing to do, I think we're just gonna push it in place. I'm gonna wrap the edges with some sort of decorative wood so it looks a little nicer. Slap maybe some sort of finish on it.
I think you should burn and seal into the center of it. And not just any kind of seal, a seal with a seal on it.
I think we should do what we did for the deck, but this time it'll be Hope, Colin, and Woody. Yeah, or whatever.
I still vote seal.
Your ideas are silly. But no, I like that. We'll brand it, the three of us, with the soldering iron when it's ready. Anyway, we're calling that a night. Table becoming close to complete. You know, I forgot to mention one thing. It's kind of an outro. The leveling feet arrived in the mail. So these guys will mount in the leg or on the base of the leg, one of those two, and we'll be able to adjust the height. So that's nice. We'll dial it in exactly where we want it for the height of the table saw, and account for an imperfect floor, which we have in here. So the legs are here. That's good.
Multi-million-dollar deals, got $1 million deal. When I was younger, I would wonder how $1 million feel. And for real, it feel like I ain't even broke a seal. Cause when you drop hits, they want you to pick up the bill. Now my life is in Maryland, my heart is in Chicago. New York state of mind, but